morning, guys. Welcome to my haylage barn. I am sat up on a haylage barn, nice and comfortable, out of the wind. Probably should be doing something like sweeping up my yard and tidying up the stables again, but do you know what? I'm more comfortable here, and I thought I'd get on and do this review video. Haven't done a review video in a while because probably like the rest of us, I'm skint because it's January and, you know, December has stolen all my pennies. And so I'm not going to be doing much shopping at the moment. We're just going to be surviving. Anyway, I did treat myself. I did mention this in a few vlogs back that I really wanted to buy the British Dressage Convention on demand. For anyone that doesn't know, this took place at Hartbury last year in November, and I think most of the time they invite two top trainers or riders to come and talk about how they train horses, really, how they teach them movements, and it spans all levels of dressage. So they talk about very much young horses learning the basics up to people doing Grand Prix. And I've seen a few conventions on Horse and Country before. They've always been pretty good. However, I really liked the two riders / trainers that BD had taking this year's convention, and that was Gareth Hughes and Michael Elberg. Both really good riders who compete at the top level. And you know what, they're both very quiet riders, which I really like. You know how some top riders can look quite physical in the way they ride, so they're quite fisticuffs, like you can see them holding so much tension in their arms and they look like they're so busy on top of the horse, whereas these two gentlemen just look so quiet. You know, they look like they're using the quietest of aids, and yet they're getting such great responses from the horses. So a lot of respect for both of them. Anyway, there was two sessions on there that I was really interested to see. One was introducing young horses to lateral work, and the other that I'd seen clips of on British Dressage, which was long reining young horses and over poles. And I'm really big on that for Sienna, and because she's such a buzzy little, I say little mare, she's not that little, but she's quite a buzzy mare. I find pole work's great for her, and I really enjoy long reining her, but I was interested to see how the pros do it. So those were the sessions tempting me in. There's actually 13 sessions in total, and there's 9 hours worth of footage if you buy the 2 days worth. You can buy either. I think you can buy just 1 day or you can buy 2 days worth. I ended up buying the 2 days because typically, like, was one session I wanted on was one day and the other session was on the other day. And because obviously I've got Sienna, who's a young horse, there were lots of sessions that I felt would really relate to her, and then there was also other sessions that I thought would relate better to Corporal. And even though Corporal's sort of semi-retired, I still like learning and playing around with him in the school. So I just felt in the end that there was enough stuff that I wanted off of both days to purchase the 2-day pass. And even though £47.50 is quite a lot of money, if you went to a dressage lesson, it'd probably be over £50 nowadays. I haven't been to one in a long time, but I can imagine it's over 50. And if you were to have a private lesson with either of these trainers, I'd imagine you would be talking £100 and something. So actually, for 9 hours worth of probably incredible information and knowledge for £47.50, doesn't seem that bad when you think about it. So like I say, there was 13 sessions. I'll read them. You can find this all on British Dressage, but just in case, I will read them to you. The first session was on Generation BD, which was past, present and future. Won't lie, this wasn't the most thrilling session, but I still listened to it all, and it was, you know, interesting to get perspective from their, like, it was interesting to get their opinion on it all. Session 2 was lateral work learnings for young horses, which I said I was really interested from Sienna's point of view. And they were talking about when to introduce young horses to it, kind of what you were looking for, that kind of thing. That was a good session. I pretty much enjoyed that one. Session 3 was flying changes, which I was really interested to find a bit more out, because Corporal can do flying changes, but not brilliantly. And having watched through that now, I realised that I wasn't doing enough kind of good canter work or correct canter work to get the flying changes. And literally you can see young horse doing learning flying changes for a first time, also then going up to a more advanced horse doing flying changes, and they also go down to talking about tempi changes and everything. Really good. If you're struggling with flying changes, well worth a watch. Session 4, which is what I'm currently on at the moment, which is to achieve alignment, so looking at rider alignment. And actually it doesn't say this on the kind of schedule of what's going on, but they do about canter pirouettes in this one, and this is where I've got to right now. And there was some brilliant exercises. Now, even if your horse is not about to go and start doing canter pirouettes, there were some really good exercises that you could make easier for your horse now if they were perhaps working at elementary or something like that, because they were great suppleness exercises. And that's the great thing about these exercises. They were great stepping stones to help teach the horse a movement, for example, the canter pirouette. And that's what I like. I really like exercises for me, so that when I'm working at home in the arena, I know how to set something up, and I know that it's helping my horse become supple. I know it's helping my horse create the strength, build the frame and the collection to be able to then progress to actually doing that dressage movement. And I won't lie, I found Michael Alberg's training suited me more than Gareth Hughes. Michael Alberg was very keen on exercises, which I really appreciate, and I liked his manner. I liked the way he taught. It just suited me, but everyone's different. That's why we all have different dressage trainers. You just find one that you can connect more with, and I just, from the way he was talking, I felt I understood more of what he was saying. However, as I say, I've only got that far. And the great thing about watching it on demand, which I think is probably better than watching it live, is you can stop and pause. There is so much information to take on board. And I'm like a school kid. I want to write down notes. I want to write down all the golden nuggets of information that came out both gentlemen's mouths. And for this, I often needed to pause it while I was at home and write it down, think about it. Also, because there is just so much information being flooded at you in these sessions, I felt like I couldn't watch one for more than about an hour, because there was just so much to take on board, and then I wanted to kind of go away, think about it, let it sink in a bit. And that's the great thing about having it on demand, is I can go back over and watch it again if I want, and I can stop and pause it and so on. So from that point of view, it's good. Also, it's lovely and warm in my house. I can have snacks. I've got my notebook. I'm ready. I feel like I'm just back, like I say, back at school, back at uni, taking notes down and everything. But I love writing notes. I just adore it. Because I want all these exercises to be written out, and it's so sad, but I have like an exercise book where any great exercises, whether they're jumping or dressage or aiming for a particular movement or working on calming a horse down, I put them all in this book, so I've got them to hand when I'm kind of at home and thinking, what should I go and do in the school today? So definitely quite a few exercises from the sessions will be going into there. Moving on, there was they looked at Grand Prix and performance and welfare. They looked again at like Generation BD and looking at the foundations for all. They did something that was looking at getting the best from your horse's paces, which I'm very interested to watch. I think that will be a really good one. They did lunging lessons, which was one of the things I was super interested to watch about, and developing your young horse from the ground, which again is something I wanted to look at for Sienna's sake. They looked at developing lengthening and collecting, which I think is so important. I mean, that's the basis for so many of these exercises, that your horse can go forward and your horse can come back. Your horse can go forward and your horse can come back without, having a major argument with you. So very keen to watch that one as well. They also looked at lateral work again, and also how to introduce and develop collection for training and competition. And then the last session was about freestyle. So they really do cover all areas in British dressage and dressage training. And like I said, I don't think it matters if maybe you're only working at prelim and novice, because I think not only is watching these sessions really inspiring and motivating, perfect at this time of year when the weather's absolutely manky and you kind of half the time you don't know what to go and do in the arena, but also you could take snippets out of, for example, working on the flying changes at novice, you might not be kind of broaching that area just yet, but there's things within it that you might think, actually, I want to start working on that with my horse now, so that in the future I can then start to introduce the flying changes. So I really think it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to find this really helpful, and all the information is very relevant. Even people working higher up the level, there are things that they're doing with the younger horses that are great for suppleness. I thought, you know what, you could be on a PSG horse, and actually stepping down and doing some of these slightly easier exercises will also benefit them. So as you can see, I think it was very, very good and well worth the money, and I'm really pleased I bought it. And this is going to keep me entertained in an evening for quite a while yet. But yeah, just full of absolutely brilliant bits of advice, information, training from two top class riders, and really for a very reasonable price when you think about it. So yeah, if you are umming and ahhing whether to get it, I would say get on and get it. You won't be disappointed.